Chris, you got no microphone.
You're on mute.
So what about now?
Perfect.
There you go.
All right. Welcome to everyone. Episode 10, DPF on Tap. So what we're going to talk about this week is we're going to look at a recap. We're going to look ahead at this week. We have the Odumbass of the week coming up. We're going to do another segment, which we were looking at, which was what do we think the playoff rotation is going to be? And then finally, we're going to end up with if we weren't a Phillies fan, what other fan of what team maybe we be? So I'll kind of kick off the recap. So today I dropped my daughter off at college and I was like looking at this college hats and I'm like trying it on. And if I don't have a low profile hat, I look like Elmer Fudd. I look absolutely fucking ridiculous. So I get up to the counter and the ladies are like, oh, I saw you looking at the hats. Didn't want one. And I was like, I just didn't like the fit. And she says, well, I like the one you have on better. And I says, oh, that's cool. Are you a Phillies fan? She says, yeah. Then she says to me, what'd you think of last night's game? And I says, it was fucking terrible. It was fucking terrible. And, this is a Catholic college, so it wasn't, I didn't realize because I was just kind of like in baseball mode. I didn't say fucking, but I was like, it was terrible. And it shouldn't have been because, like, it's one of those ones where we came back and, you just kind of lost it at the end, right? So, like, to me, I'm just as beautiful as like a couple wins are and we win the series, like, I don't know. I think, again, that's kind of like, it's good, but it's a little bit of like, I wanted to win all three, but we very well could have lost two of those. So, I mean, right now, I'm as happy as what our last game is, and it's a loss. So that's what I got. Mike, where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I put down here the Nats being 1 and 2 is embarrassing. I think we've called this team bipolar. I think schizophrenic is a little better. We have a bunch of examples, right? Game 1 against the Nats, our pitcher goes from throwing a no-hitter to giving up 7 runs, 6 earned, and 3 1/3. The fourth inning of that game was schizophrenic, right? We scored 6 runs. I was ecstatic. And then after we got the third out, our third out, they scored 6 runs. So, throwing up 12 runs, we all said it on our chat, right? Gosh, we're going to get no hit tomorrow. Sure as shit, we didn't score until the 9th inning of that game, right? And Wheeler, I think he forgot in his game that he was pitching until the 2nd inning, and that cost us the game. To your point, the Giants, we won the series, great. I'll get to what makes me drink later on, maybe if we do that segment, but I think it should have been a sweep. That 3 spot in the extra innings by Kimbrel killed us. Wasted a clutch 3-run homer by Harp to tie it in the 9th. And our boy pitched pretty well in game 1. And then we scored 10 runs again. And, we were wondering if we were going to score in the next couple games. I think the Turner turnaround is continuing. And that 102-mile-an-hour exit velo 2-run walk-off in the 9th was pretty exciting for me. But, again, a tale of 2 schizophrenic teams. So, Dugan, where you at on these 2 series?
Yeah, I think my emotions with this team are pretty much like our offense, up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean, you mentioned it, Mike, in that first game, a 6-run lead, with a guy on the mound that's coming off a no-hitter. You think, shit, we got game 1 in the bag. The next thing you know, boom, 6th spot. But that whole inning starts with Rojas dropping that ball in center field. If he makes that play, that's a totally different inning. You're at 2 outs, and none of that happens. Lorenzo needs to be better and pitch around that mistake, but that was huge in that game. Then even in the second game, I mean, they didn't do shit offensively. They had no runs until the 7th inning. Then they put up the 3 spot and then a giant 8 spot in the 8th inning, which really blew that game wide open. Nice to see Christopher Sanchez finally get a win because the guy's pitched great all year, and so he deserved it. And then the Little League Classic, the Phillies looked like a bunch of little leaguers up there just flailing away. No discipline at the plate. Wheeler, shitty first inning, then looked great the rest of the way. back, couldn't pull it off. And that's part of the problem with this team. I mean, I mentioned it yesterday. It was like 17 of their wins of 21 wins in the second half are comeback wins. You just it's living dangerously. You can't keep counting on coming back, and we saw that happen yesterday, where they fell short. Again, Giants series, really nice first game. Nola, again, the emotions are up and down. He gives up 2 home runs. It's fuck Nola. No, that's a Nola. But he ends up pitching 7 strong innings. Sosa has a great game with a home run and a triple. Schwarber, Harper, home runs. Game 2, big comeback. Turner, that was a special moment. Thought it would carry us into yesterday. And then when Harper hit the home run, you really thought we were going to win that game and steal a second game from them, only to have Kimbrel come in and not be able to throw strikes in that 10th inning. So again, my emotions are a lot like this team, just up and down, up and down. I want to be pissed off, and then they do something that make me happy. Then I want to be happy, and they piss me off again. So it's just up and down with this team. They need to find some consistency. Keep winning these series, and they'll be fine. I don't think the Giants are real contenders in this wild card, to be honest with you. That's just not a good baseball team. So I'm glad we got 2 out of 3. Although, like you said, Chris, we could have easily lost 2 of 3. What do you got, John?
Yeah, I wanted a sweep versus the Nats, but obviously that didn't happen. We were talking last week that we usually lose that one goofy game to the Nats, but we lost 2. So we went to go 1-2 versus the Nats. It's embarrassing to me. It's just flat out freaking embarrassing. There's nothing else I can say. Game 1, I never even heard of the damn pitcher that was pitching, Adon, whatever his name was. Game 2, that Irvin was pitching pretty good too until we blew it up wide open on the bullpen. He went 6 innings, no earned runs, and then once they took him out, we started wailing away that second game. And the third game, like you said, Dugan, we were just flailing around, going through the motions in Williamsport. It's like day and night with these guys. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. And then the Giants are a fraud team. They shouldn't even be in like this mix of like wild card teams. I was sitting there with my stepdad the other night. I don't know half the roster, and I watch like a lot of games. I know like 4 guys on their squad. And I mean, we teed off Monday night pretty good, 10-4, and then the late comeback with the walk off. I was at that game. That was great, and they came back late to win that one. Yesterday they just fell flat, like one of you guys just said. You can't keep trying to come back in the 8th or ninth inning. My dad texted me yesterday. Oh, they're down 4-0. Are they gonna? He's watching, by the way. What's up, Dad? um, he texted me yesterday. What are they gonna do? Wait till the ninth inning again? I said, I hope not. We need some runs before that. You can't. You're not gonna luck out that way each time. You gotta, you gotta score early and often. I would like to see a lead for once. Come out the gates, running and fighting, and just build a lead and hold it for once. And that's all I got.
They just can't seem to carry good momentum into the next
Right.
day. Like that big inning against the Nationals, and then they come out flat on Sunday night. Big comeback win against the Giants in the second game, and they come out flat the next day. Yeah, they just prosperity is not this team's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes. I mean, next we're kind of looking ahead with the Cards and Angels coming up. It's the same thing. These are 2 like not good teams. The Cardinals, they're not really doing much well. They're like on paper, they should be a playoff team. They were last year. They're just not doing any aspect of the game well. The Angels, I mean, they got Ohtani, they got Trout, they got that youngster in center field, Mickey Moniak. The Angels are terrible except for one thing. They hit a lot of home runs. But what the Phillies do wrong is, again, they're not scoring first, but by not doing that, they're making these other teams feel like they can be in the game with this team. And it consistently has caused them problems because I can't, and literally there probably is a few, but in my head, I cannot think of a game where we just went out and scored, 3 and then 2 and then another 2. And it was just a laugher. There's probably 1 or 2, but they're so few and far between that you don't remember it. The Cards and Angels, like winning 4 is the minimum. Like anything above that, it's good. But again, like the Cardinals, I don't think they want to be there. I don't think they care. I don't think they have anything to play for at this point. And the Angels, like at least we're not going to face Ohtani because I read that he has a UCL. and he's not going to be pitching at least. But you've got to win 4 against these teams because we're going to start playing the Braves soon. And I don't know. I don't want to have some September swoon where, September is we're 10 and 15 or something like that. I think there has to be some momentum starting to be built, but I'm just not seeing it throughout for this team. Dugan, what do you got for the upcoming series here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Chris. I think 4 out of 6 is a must. I mean, if you're looking just at wild card teams, the Cubs are hot. The Cubs are playing really well, and I really think the Phillies need to be that number 1 wild card. So they need to start winning these series, and 4 or 5 games out of the next 6 is a must. Try and keep the Cubs at bay a little bit. Looking at the Cardinals, I mean, historically a really good franchise, usually a playoff contender, and they're just having a really bad year. This year. Let's say the Phillies are going to face Michaelis, Hudson, and Rom, who just made his major league debut his last start and got roughed up by the Pirates for like 8 runs in 3 2/3. So he'll probably pitch a shutout against the Phillies. But looking back, I mean, Dakota Hudson, who's pitching the second game of that series, he's on a little bit of a hot streak. He's won his last 4 starts. He's 1-1 against the Phillies career with a 1.59 ERA. Michaelis is 2-1 against the Phillies with a 3.16 ERA in his career. So I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk because I think both these guys have pitched well against the Phillies, and Hudson is coming in hot. You still have to deal with Arenado and Goldschmidt, who are both still, all-star players. But you still got to win 2 out of 3 in that series. Phillies will have Sanchez, Wheeler, and Nola going in those 3 games. And then the Angels, like you said, Chris, they're super banged up. Not going to face Ohtani. At least pitching, it sounds like he's going to continue to hit, kind of do the Bryce Harper thing, DH with that arm injury. Trout just went back onto the IL, so they're missing their 2 big guys coming into the series. Who knows, Ohtani, how serious that is, if he's going to be able to swing the bat as effectively as he has all season. The Angels. I mean, I'm looking at their pitching. They're like the 8th worst ERA in baseball right now, so they're gettable. You can score some runs on that team, and their offense is pedestrian. Our boy Moniak seems to be having a nice year though in some limited duties, hit 282 with 12 homers, 39 RBIs in 73 games. So that's good to see. I think the kid just needed a change of scenery and an opportunity to get some quality playing time. I mean, it just wasn't right for him here because the Phillies were trying to contend last year, and he just wasn't producing. But I think 4-5 wins out of these next 6. That's what the Phillies got to get. What do you got, John?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. You got to get at least 4 or 6. And you said the pitching matchups already. With the Angels, I like how our pitching lines up against the Angels too. Well, Otani's not pitching, so who knows who's pitching against Lorenzen? But you got Giolito versus Walker. It's a decent matchup. And Sanchez versus Detmers. But I think you got to beat these dogs when they're down. The Cardinals are coming off a series where they just got beat up by the Pirates. They only won 1 game out of those 3. And the Angels are coming off. The Angels will be playing the Mets before us, so hopefully they beat the shit out of each other. Fuck the Mets. But the Cardinals are in 4 and 6 in their last 10. And the Angels are 3 and 7 in their last 10, so they're pretty beat up. Just beat a dog while it's down. I mean, you can't let these 4 teams get these lucky wins. Like, you can't let a Nat series happen from here on out. You got to at least win 2 out of each 3. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, you guys outlined a lot of things, but the Cardinals 18 games under 500, and I think Dugan, you said it. They're usually a lot better than that. The ERA for the starters in this series is 7.74. Now that guy who had his major league debut has a lot to do with that, but still the other 2 aren't great either. They're dead last in their division and 11 games out of the last wild card spot. And so to me, 2 out of 3 is disappointing. So I think we're all aligned. We need to win both of these series. The note I put down here is the Angels series got a little more pedestrian with the 2 major injuries you guys outlined. with Trout going back on the IL and Ohtani just DHing. He may hit 5 or 7 home runs, but he's not going to strike out 14 or 15 of us. So that's good. And the Angels are second to last in front of the A's or whatever we're going to call them next year in their division, and 10.5 out of the last wild card slot in the American League. So in my opinion, 2 out of 3 is disappointing there as well. So, 4 to 6 wins is what I'm looking at for these 2 series. I think John, or maybe it was even Dugan said, put your foot on their throat. That's what we have to do in these 2 series, in my opinion. I'm going to roll right into the Odumbass because I'm excited about this one. Does that sound all right with you guys?
Yeah.
Cool, man. So I'm going to paint a little picture for you. Volusia County, Florida. It's like 96 degrees and 960% humidity. There's a guy walking around who's wanted for grand theft auto, right? And there's a deputy that's actively looking for this guy because down here, that's what they do. By the way, I'm in Florida right now. So this deputy does a search for this guy on social media, and he finds his Instagram account. Lo and behold, the deputy then asks to follow his Instagram account, and the guy must have been like looking for a new record or something because he said, "Absolutely, man, join my Instagram." Then this guy goes live on Instagram. So the cop pulls up to the house where the suspect says he's live at and confirms that the location is correct by shining his flashlight in the window and seeing it live on Instagram. And he immediately calls for backup. And once backup gets there, the suspect is arrested for the warrant and subsequently charged for 4 more counts of possession of a firearm by a delinquent because they found 3 firearms in the house and 1 under his car. And so that, my friends, is your Odumbass of the week.
Oh my goodness!
I
love it,
Chris. We better watch some of our follow drug Phil's fans, man. We might have the cops show
Seriously.
our house.
So for some of the new listeners and viewers, Odumbass is because of Odubel Herrera, and we kind of like called him a dumbass for a while. But I love that every week. Like that's great. They keep getting dumber too. It's amazing. Each week I'm like, this guy's the biggest dumbass. No, it's like it escalates each time. I'm going to go to some of the comments right now before we go on to our next topic. So we have Garrett present. Excellent. Thank you, Garrett. Where are you at, Garrett? Like, you don't have to say like the address, but like the country, because I have a feeling you're like somewhere, not continental United States. All right. So what do we got next? Josh, let's 5-1 the next 6. That's always reasonable. I feel like, I don't know, this is like me personally, but like we could go 5-0 and then it's 0-1 and then the podcast and I'm fucking pissed off. I don't know. It just
Right.
but,
Every time.
Every single time.
Need to be consistent. Our friend Mike, Josh again, against one of the worst starters in baseball Sunday. Yep. Let's see. Consistency, we keep seeing it. So, wait, I know this last name.
That's my dad.
John?
That's Pop.
What's
That's
up,
Papa
Mr.
John.
John?
That's Papa John.
Yep.
All right.
That's Papa John.
All right. Have to get this on there, Jeff. Fuck the Mets. Yep, that
Nice
is
job,
correct. Josh DeYoung, a serious bum. Yeah, how about that? This dude who like just got DFA'd comes in and he's like the second coming of Ted Williams, Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth put together. A feared hitter.
Did you hear that stat yesterday? He was 3 for 48 with the Blue Jays, and he had 3 hits yesterday.
Yep.
Wow.
He's a San Francisco legend already. That guy.
With his black right next to Darren Ruff.
Tan Dick loves it. Loves that he's DeJong. You get to say that. Oh, DeJong.
He presents well.
Tom doesn't want to bring Kimbrel into a tie game. I don't love it. I get it. It's at home and it's the right thing to do. But I think it's tough for these closers and the adrenaline when like they know they're not getting the save at the end of the inning. I think there is something to that, but
and it's not a clean inning in the extra inning. He's coming in with that runner at second.
Right.
That could play with the psyche a little of a closer.
Yeah. That's a good point. Let's see a few more shutdown innings from Brian.
What's that? What is the shutdown inning?
Never heard of it.
Where is that?
What the hell is that? I gotta look that up on the baseball almanac.
Jason also doesn't know what it is, so if you find out, Jason, let us know. We hear other teams do this, but we're not really. The Cubs series worries me. Every series worries me. Honestly, I'm not like, oh, it's the Nats, oh, it's the Pirates coming up, oh, it's the Mets. Every series worries me. I don't think we're good enough to be able to like say, oh no, that's a definite 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. Going on to our next segment, we'll go back to more comments after another segment or two, but we're going to be talking about like the Phils make me drink. This one really bothers me, and I don't think I've talked about it before, but it's something that like I've said on the page a lot. I am of the belief that you have to protect your batters as a pitcher. And I feel like if I looked up the stats, I would feel like the Phillies have hit no batters this year, their pitchers. Like they probably have, but it feels like they haven't. I know that there's always, oh, it's not the time, it's not the place. Well, when the fuck is it the time or the place to stick up for your fucking batters? I don't know. Like, to me, when Bryce Harper, your clear best player, gets hit, you fucking hit the next fucking guy up with the first fucking pitch. Period. End of story. I'm tired of our pitchers they just seem like punks. And we're like, oh, Alvarado will do it. You know what? Every pitcher should do it. It shouldn't be like, and I also hear like, oh, Thompson, what is he doing sitting on his hands? He shouldn't fucking have to tell you. The guy's played baseball long enough. You got to fucking protect your players. I'm sick of it happening. And, I'm still going to be sick. I want the Phillies just to hit someone tomorrow just because of something that happened 2 fucking weeks ago. Hit Goldschmidt just because. Like, show me you have some guts. Show me you have a fucking pulse, because right now I don't feel like you do. Nola, like, he's like, hit someone 0-2. He's like, I'm not going to brush him back. I'm going to throw it right down the plate. I can sneak one by him. And then, he sneaks one fucking by him. So it just makes me mad. I feel like I've had enough of it. So Dugan, what do you got?
I just want to expand on what you said, Chris. I mean, we're playing the Cardinals coming up, and I don't know if you saw the highlight last week. It was Michaelis, the batter on his backswing, hit his catcher and hit him in the side of the head, and Michaelis threw at him on the next pitch. And, he stood up for it. Wasn't even a hit batter. It was the guy's backswing hit him in the catcher in the side of the head. And
we should trade for that guy.
And he stood up for for his teammate. And I agree with you 100%. I mean, if Harper gets hit, it should be automatic. It should be automatic. I mean, that somebody gets hit. But talking of Harper, that leads me into makes me drink, and it's a positive. It's Bryce Harper. He is the showman. He is the guy that rises to the occasion. And he's a guy that I'm so happy he ended up coming to Philadelphia, and we get to watch him play 162 games a year. Just looking at how hot he's been, recently. And in the second half of the year, he's already got 9 home runs in the second half of the season. He only had 3 in the first half, so obviously his power numbers are coming back up. But it's just the numbers like in the clutch. Let me scroll down here. What the show is like his batting average. In the 4th to the 6th inning, he's hitting 339. The 7th to the 9th, he's hitting 310. The guy in clutch situations, in big spots, the guy always comes through. Whether it's a home run in the National League Championship game, or the grand slam 2 years ago against the Cubs to win that game, or yesterday's 3-run homer. And he's doing it in little ways too. I mean, even when the power's not there, when he leads off an inning, he's hitting over like 400 leading off an inning. He's getting on base. He's causing things. He's hitting doubles. I'd love to get him back out on the field every day because I think he's done a pretty nice job at first base. And I think our defense is better when he's at first, and we can get somebody else out in left field. but he's just been he's been the perfect player for Philadelphia, Bryce Harper. And so yeah, I know we give him shit sometimes when he goes into a slump, but we give every guy shit. We would boo Babe Ruth in his prime. But he's the best baseball player on the planet, in my opinion. When the game is on the line, I want Bryce Harper up, and so I drink positively to Bryce Harper being a Philly. What you got, Mike?
So first of all, I'm gonna also piggyback on other Chris's. Chris, that makes me insane. I like to think that our guys that we played with at Textile thought we had their back, because I know I led the league in hit batters at one point. As a matter of fact, I had the record at one point for Textile. So the second thing, though, that I really wanted to tee up is Kimbrel. Okay, so I was talking to someone that some of us know on this call who was a big league reliever, and something that I didn't necessarily understand is that those guys just pound drinks in the dugout, in the clubhouse, in the bullpen, and it doesn't even really matter if you might play or not. And so Tom said, like, you can't put Kimbrel in the 10th or in a tie game or whatever Tom said. Like, I think you can't put him back-to-back games because he won the game prior, right? And then the next night, I think he's out there tipping a few, having a couple of cocktails. Like, hey, Topper's not going to put me in twice. We're in the 9th. Maybe he even waited till the 9th. Well, I'm definitely not getting in now. And I think, like, you can tell because he doesn't have command of his pitches when he's drunk. I'm just telling you, man. I after hearing some stories about some former Blue Jays and putting two and two together, like, it just makes me nuts that you can't trust a guy that makes all that money. It's his job to go out there and get a hold so that you can score the dumb zombie ghost runner, whatever you want to call him, in the bottom of the 10th to make the to get a series win against someone that you need to beat. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. By the way, Miller High Life.
Oh, nice. I'm thinking of like Kimbrel, like with a big jug of like Pappy Van Kimbrel, like,
with the two X's,
around like
two
this.
X's on it.
Yeah. Two X's on. He's like
little
Pappy
moonshine.
15-year-old, like my dad made it out in the still. Like, Jesus.
John, up to you, my friend.
Yes, it's wild you say that about Kimbrel because I was listening to Fanatic today to expand on what you said, and Ricky Bell was like, "Oh yeah, there was lots of guys I was in the bullpen, but they were soft when they were out there." I mean, and he was talking about not even guys he played with. I remember David Wells pitched no hitter drunk that one time.
I remember that.
But yeah, it's like I was thinking the same thing last night. I was like, why are they bringing this guy out 2 days in a row plus a tie game in the 10th? I was like, do we not have anybody else not named Covey? But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I had up until they lost that game last night. I had a positive. I had a positive make me drink. I was going to say identity, and I was going to say this was the turnaround series of the season. Like, they played a solid series the whole time, and even though they were behind in a couple of games, they fought and battled back. But I mean, I don't. It's too early to say that, but I just had that feeling of watching the first two games. But my make me drink is, and Chris mentioned this on another episode really briefly, but JT Realmuto is sneakily getting a pass for having a shit ass season. And no one's calling him out, media. Nobody's calling him out. He's just getting by. Like, we're like not just us, like everybody, people in general. We're shitting on Turner. We're shitting on this guy. Schwarber don't do this guy. And JT just sneaks under the rug, and he's just having a horrible year, and no one's calling him out. And I'm tired of his strikeouts. Like the other night, the pop up, like his at bats are horrible. Like in the past 7 days, he hasn't done too bad. He has had 4 runs, 2 RBIs, but he's had 11 strikeouts. And and the numbers are his season numbers are very misleading. 15 homers, 50 RBIs, but he's got like 115 strikeouts. The strikeouts and the pop ups are pissing me off, and also the pass balls too. When he has pass balls, like it's the only thing he can pretty much do at this point, like this year, is gun someone down to second. That's all I could see he could do. Everywhere else, he's struggling, and no one's calling him out for it. It's just I don't know. It's just been irking me. So I just want to shout out JT. Sorry, buddy, but you're not the best
They said
catcher in baseball, pal.
they said in the game yesterday he's hitting like 320 in August, and I can't even remember him having a good at bat, let alone batting 320.
That's what I'm saying.
It's got to be the softest 320 ever. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember him. His at bats, he can't catch up to a good fastball, and he keeps chasing shit low and away.
Chris,
I
how
don't
many
see-
days off has he had in August? That probably contributes.
That's
That
a good question.
He's overworked this year.
He's overworked every year, but
Yeah.
he looks banged up. And Crookie kept mentioning in the game yesterday that he looks like his right leg, something's not right with his leg. So, I don't know.
Do you remember when there's that perfect meme that we've used 1,000 times where that reliever comes running in full speed and JT he's just like this.
The eye roll.
I think we might start using it to for JT at the bat. Oh, you know what? JT's up with a runner on second and third, and we're like, oh.
What you gotta do, you gotta catch a pitcher doing that. You gotta catch one of the Phillies pitchers doing that, and then capture that.
Yeah. Thank God this microphone kind of cancels stuff out. My recycling was just here, and it sounded like fucking Beirut, like all the bottles crashed. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I hope that wasn't on the goddamn podcast.
It was not.
Out there. All right. Wow, that's. I mean, part of me wish it was too, because it probably been a funny soundbite. I'm sitting here just listening to everyone and all
My
these,
buddy.
It's all good though. It's all good, Chris, because my cat. Okay, Chris Dugan.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
I said it's all right, Chris, because my cat just did a somerset trying to get some airtime. she's cool though.
Boise just sent me a stat that JT splits. He's hitting 180 at home and 320 on the road. I didn't look at deep into it, but that's crazy. If it's that, if it's that.
Yeah.
Do you think JT has some road strange that he's each of these ones he's just a little bit more amped up, and he hits the road to Florida, and he's JT's
my
doing
Christy
his thing.
calls him real cutie, so I mean real cuto or something like that. She calls him, so who knows? Maybe he is.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
he is.
he's only throwing out what I think. Well, he's 21st, so it's I heard a lot of excuses. Well, the Phillies don't hold the pitcher. The guy's on as well. The bases are bigger. As far as I know, it's bigger for everyone.
Right.
So, if he's 21st, it's just I think something's wrong. Honestly, I just think whether it's mentally or whether it's physically, something's wrong with JT.
Standing out time.
It might be the standing out. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's on the bench time a little bit more. And, let's towards the end of the season, I don't want JT, playing 157 games here. Let's
Exactly.
rest. And, if Stubbs isn't good enough, then find out someone who's good enough to back him up that can kind of come in there. If and when the Phillies make the playoffs, the next segment is, what do we think the rotation is going to be? And, normally in the playoffs, we think it's a 3-man. So we're just going to keep it to that. Which 3 guys right now, the playoffs start in 3 days, who do you think they're going to be? And what's the order of those pitchers? So I'll not going to go first. John, what do you got? I'll someone chime me in somewhere.
I wrote down what I would do and what Topper would do.
That's what I did.
Yeah, look, I think Topper would go Wheeler, Nola, and Ranger. I would not even have Nola in my top 3 at all. And a lot of people, I was listening to the sports radio this morning, a lot of people wouldn't even put Nola in their playoff rotation. I'm going Wheeler as of right now because, Lorenzen had a great first couple games, but that last game, I haven't seen enough yet. So I would have said him, before the last start, but I'm going Wheeler, and when Ranger's healthy, Wheeler, Ranger, and Walker. Because even though Walker's kind of shaky sometimes, he's a battler. He'll keep you in a game. I don't want no, like I said, it's. I got to see a couple more starts out of Lorenzen to feel that out. But I do not want Nola in my first series at all. Maybe bring him out. Nah, no, you know what? I don't even want him out of the pen. Just stash him somewhere. Like, yeah, we'll call you if we make the next round, buddy. But that's because they were. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier. I said, I have a feeling because Topper's an idiot. He'll put Nola second. But that's my three: Wheeler, Ranger, and Walker. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, so I read a little bit about how Lorenzen has a lot of experience coming out of the pen, so that's why I didn't put him in my top three. I love Wheeler in the one slot. I think he's a bulldog. We will have to remind him that he's pitching, a la last Sunday when he didn't show up till the second inning. But that could have been from signing autographs for the little leaguers. I'm not sure. I got Ranger in the 2 slot and Walker in my 3rd slot as well. And I'll tell you why. I don't trust that Aaron Nola won't give up 3 or 4 or 5 runs in the first couple innings in a playoff game. He just does not have the fire to me to want to go out there and shut down a team to give his squad, a chance to come up and score some runs and get ahead. I also wrote down what I thought Topper would do, and I wrote Wheeler, Nola, Ranger, because again, I think he has this. I don't know if it's loyalty or what, but he has this mentality of, these are the guys that have been doing it all year long. It doesn't matter to him what the outcome has been, in my opinion. And so those are my 2 choices. Dugan, what you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna change it up from you guys. I'm going definitely Wheeler is 1, Ranger is 2, but I am starting Nola. I think, and the reason I'm doing that is because he's not a bullpen guy. He's never been a bullpen guy. He's always been a starter. And of the other 3 choices, I think Sanchez and Lorenzen can both give you length out of the bullpen, multiple inning guys. Obviously, like you said, Mike, Lorenzen, the majority of his career, he's been in a relief role. So I think he could fit nicely back there. He's already thrown more innings than he ever has at any point in his career, Lorenzen, too. So I worry about him wearing down the stretch. Sanchez has been a guy who's come out of the bullpen in the past, to give you a lefty look out of the bullpen for extended innings. And Walker, he's a battler, but that's the problem. I don't think he's capable of ever going out and dominating a game, where I think Nola can. Nola has in the past. Like, I think Nola is the guy out of those 3 that can go out and just dominate a game when he's on and when he's right. Now, it's few and far between. We've seen it, but even like the other night, he only gave up 2 runs and with 7 innings, like if he can limit the home runs, he really limits the damage. He doesn't have those innings where he gives up 4 or 5 hits and it's crazy. It's always a hit and then a home run, or 2 hits and a home run. If he can limit the home runs, I think Nola fits nicely in that rotation. I can't say I completely trust him, but given our options, I think he's that one of those last couple guys that I trust more than the other ones. Well, it could change my mind if Walker starts shutting people down. But neither Walker or Sanchez go deep in games. They're 5-inning pitchers as it is. So I know he can give you some length when he's right. So I think it's Wheeler, Ranger, and Nola for me. What do you got, Chris?
I'm going Wheeler, Ranger, Nola, because I think experience matters, especially in the playoffs here. These guys have been there. They've been there last year. Lorenzen, when's the last time he's pitched an important game? Maybe like American Legion. I just don't think he's done that. I've liked what he's done. It's been up and down. And Taijuan Walker, I don't know what his playoff experiences, honestly. But I trust our guys a little bit more, and I think that there is the capability of each three of those guys that I was mentioning is to have a great game. And I don't know that we've had that domination from the other three. They pitch nice, but there could be that instance where, the first, you want to win 2 games here. So I'm not going to risk putting Lorenzen in there where he's been up and down. And I don't trust him. I don't trust Nola. I just don't trust Lorenzen even more than him. So that's kind of where I was with that. I'm going to go to some viewer comments here before we go on to another segment. So let me see where I left off. All right, Jason, I agree with Chris. We need to get out in front and put pressure on the opposing team. Coming behind catches up with you. Like, Dugan, when you posted that, like 17 of the 21 wins are come from behind, like, it feels good, but it's also like it's so draining mentally. Like, shit, here we go. We're down 3-0. Like, we're down 2-0. It's consistent.
It's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable way to play either. You just can't count on having that big inning every game.
All right, Jimmy, this is a good question. All right, Mike has 2. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with like 3 here, but I'm going to do plus or minus 2.5.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 2.5 because like.
You're so Vegas.
As long as they're solo shots.
Yeah.
I take them.
Schwarber should not play in the outfield at this point.
100%.
David says that.
Yeah.
He can't even field a ground ball. I mean, every ground ball hit out there to him. He bobbles, kicks it, bounces off his shoulder. I mean, it's getting real bad with him out there.
I saw that Thompson was like, we have to be careful with Bryce's back. He's like bending over 150 times a game. Well, you know what? Like, tell your pitchers to like not throw as many pitches, right? He's not out there when the other team's out there. Like, tell Noel to stop playing grab ass and like actually get some games. And I mean, I get it because like, you do the same thing all the time and it starts to hurt, right? Like,
yeah, that elbow.
Little tennis elbow there.
4.
4. I'm not sure where that is, but 5. Maybe Jason went to say fuck the Mets, and I agree with that.
I think he made 4 homers for the over-under for Nola.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, yeah.
I thought that too, but he commented at 7:13. So maybe he's like, omniscient. And he's like, 4.
Maybe he meant wins. Maybe it was wins.
Yeah, it had to be
okay.
Wins, All right, only in Florida. Yep. So Garrett is in the Philippines. No work, no homework today. I was wondering, we look at like our like Spotify and where people are from, and one was like, I think it was Philippines, and we're like, shit, we're getting big over the Philippines, man. Like, fuck, who fucking would believe
it's like
that shit?
13% of our audience is in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Drunk Philippines
1.3.
fans.
Yeah. DPF. Bill loved to play from behind. Yeah, maybe they do. Maybe they just love to play from behind. No paybacks. Yeah, Harry, agree. Like, when is that going to happen? Bill's pretty pumped up here. He wants us to let's go. Maybe we're going a little bit too slow, or he's
maybe
the Phillies, but Harry Stott in the walk-off.
Yeah,
Stott
he got
lead off.
No, he got drilled in the elbow, and then Trey Turner hit that walk-off.
Yeah.
And so the next day, I agree. Who's this? Harry. The next day, the first guy should have gotten drilled. I agree.
Like, no doubt. First pitch, no nonsense. Like, you're just doing it.
What are they going to do? 3 out on the first pitch? They're not going to 3 out. Oh,
well, that's why I'm like,
got away from me.
Let Kobe be the first guy.
Well, maybe
that. Like, fuck it. Like, if he gets thrown out, who gives a shit? We're fucking happy. Like, all right, he can't fucking do any damage.
There's no guarantee Kobe could hit him though. He might miss him 4 times.
Well, that's true.
That's true. Good call.
I was like, as I was watching that game, I was like, man, I would love for like someone to nuke Lelouch, like just throw it and hit fucking Tandick between the fucking glasses.
or a stunt double that was standing next to him the whole game.
Yeah, you would. Maybe you hit the wrong one. Old baseball isn't
Yeah.
here right now. Yep, it's just
Harry, you're
potato.
reading our text line.
Yeah. You hacked our group chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Bohm getting hit after the inside the park. That's another one where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going fucking berserk, and God damn,
I was
I'm getting
snapping.
pissed off again. I'd rather have Nola hit someone that way. I mean, yeah, who knows? I don't trust that either. Like,
I agree, Jason.
Should we add Jason to the group text or what?
Jason might get added to the group text. DPF on Tap is streaming in the UK.
Nice.
Wow.
That's
Thanks,
pretty cool.
Christy. What time is it
won
there?
The game last night with knock. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's probably like 3 or 4 hours ahead of us. So Joe, Mike is right. Being people who fuck with your players. So far, all pitchers are the P word. I don't know if I can say that one. My wife lets me say the F word, but the P word is ones I cannot say, and I think she's listening. So I'm not doing it. And Renee, you're welcome.
There you go.
Thanks,
But I love that, Mr. John.
Pop up, John.
Leave too many guys on base can't get the big hits. So, like, when guys are on base, I don't know if you guys do the same thing, but I'm like, all right, how many outs do we have? And is there a chance Harper's going to come up or Stott's going to come up?
All the time.
That's the only 3 that I give a shit about, that I have any faith in. Everyone else, I'm like Nick Castellanos blows again.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like the road to the World Series will be the same. Get hot at the right time. Hope the pitching holds up. We're not intimidating and scaring anyone. Was it toppers at home? Yeah, it's true. It's going through LA. It's going through Atlanta, and we'll have to see, kind of what happens. This is entertaining, guys. Well, man, we appreciate that. We do try, like, we talk all week of like topics and like, we prepare. So I appreciate you listening in and making that comments. Let me see if there's anyone we haven't heard from. Will you guys be doing a drunk Eagles fan on tap? I don't know. Do we have any drunk Eagles fans listening? How about, are you guys Eagles fans on here? Like, I know Dugan is. John?
Oh, God, yeah.
Mike?
Oh, yeah. My favorite time ever in New England was when the Eagles beat the Patriots in the World Series, and I had 60 Patriots fans at my house. It was beautiful. We had
Were you the only one who was a non?
Oh yeah,
God, that's amazing.
I made cheesesteaks. I went and found a Philly pretzel factory an hour from my house, and Carrie bought Amazon out of Eagles balloons and plates and shit, and made all the Patriots fans eat off of them. It was amazing.
Oh, Jesus.
My neighbor 2 doors down is a Philly guy, Eagles, and he married a girl from Boston, so she was a Patriots fan. So they had a little marriage issue there, during that Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right, 2 more. So let's see. Nancy, haven't heard from you yet. Hate the runner on second and extras.
I'm not even really sure who likes that runner.
Yeah.
I can't find one person.
And I was thinking about, like, we haven't bitched about the clock and all of that. Like, I don't know if I'm used to it, but I kind of miss a little bit longer games. I miss the one thing I don't miss is, when they're not at home, I always listen to the radio. So I'm not hearing a lot of the Croc Amaro nonsense, but I am hearing a lot of like the stalker bullshit. I think Fransky has had it with him because like he almost like he'll hear a story and he's like, that's Kevin. So anyway, here's the second pitch.
Yep.
Doesn't even like comment back.
Nope.
I feel like I want to ask the 3 of you, who do you think has a better personality, Kevin Stocker or Mike Trout?
So I'm saying Mike Trout, but that's because I know some stuff I know people that know him in New Jersey. So I'll put it that way. Stocker to me is like listening to grass grow. Like, I can't wait till LA is on, or even
Yeah.
if what's his face Murph sits in. Like, I Stalker is not doing it for me, and I really liked last year. Oh God, it was one of the Kevins. I thought he was better than
Yeah, Kevin
Stalker.
Durbin.
Yeah.
No, Chad
Chad
Durbin.
Durbin. Chad
Chad
Durbin.
Durbin.
That's
Yeah,
it.
dude.
I thought
Yeah.
Chad Durbin was better than Stalker, and I don't know if it
Yeah,
was
I agree.
a money thing or what, but I was hoping they would pick him. But anyway,
I'm begging for Michael Bourne to come back.
Oh,
God,
Like that's where
Negative.
it's at. Like I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Easy pizza valuables. Much mouth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Stalker's
move
too
to-
Opie-ish. He's Opie. Like he just
yeah.
he's like
Stalker
dry
reminds
oatmeal
me
on the radio.
Stalker reminds me of the Pepperidge Farm guy. He's like, do you remember when Noah last didn't nut up a meatball? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I think he's too vanilla, man. Like, so, Fransky started talking about him bringing his dog somewhere, and he was like, dude, like, I don't want to talk
No one
about my
gives a
dog.
shit.
I'm like, nobody cares, dude. Just say
Right.
something interesting.
I mean, the good part is like they're never talking about food.
Well, that's true.
Like that's the positive, and that's why I'm on there. It's like I would say it's, I don't know, 80% baseball, as to where, like, you know, on the TV, I'm not sure. You know, I haven't listened. What percent baseball is it, guys? If you're listening, you know,
Oh,
TV
60,
announcers.
60-40, I would think. 60-40 baseball.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you guys what. I was so jealous of you guys posting and stuff when I was at the game the other night when they did the outfield broadcasting because I wanted to be at home making fun with you guys. Like
That
posting
was
and texting.
terrible.
I was like, I can only imagine what these guys are saying about them in the outfield because I was up at 211. But I mean, I'm glad I was there. I caught the Turner walk off. But yeah, like on TV, I'm sure not even Croc, like Ruben, Ben, or whatever, when they keep talking about the food, I'm sure blind people are even pissed off. It's just like it's all food, snack. I sent you guys the meme in the group chat the other day, the John Croc bingo board. How many times they like get food set up in the snacks? I was cracking up. Like, yeah, I think outside of LA, they should put Murph. Murph's already there. He does the pre and post game. Just stick him in there. Just let him do the whole game with Fransky. You know, when LA's not there, obviously.
Right.
I mean, soccer's just like, it's like watching paint dry.
So I want to. Donna is like a longtime person that like supports DPF. She thinks it's 70-30%, you know, baseball,
baseball.
on television. So I guess that's probably pretty fair. In my head, I think it's 30-70, but like I'm sure they're calling percent of it. So the next topic we wanted to get into, here's the idea: is we're not born and graced to be Phillies fans. We have to choose some other team. Phillies fold, there is no Phillies. What other team would the four of us follow? Like, who would be our team? There's no Phillies. That's important. This isn't a second team nonsense talk. Like, this is like, you know, there's no Phillies. Who's your team? So, Mike, who do you have?
Yeah. So my other team was always Pittsburgh. And because I can't stand the Mets or the Yankees, and I know they're closer, but I think if I had to pick an NL team, you know, like you said, the Phils aren't around. It's Pittsburgh. It's still in Pennsylvania. They're still in the National League, and you know, I've had a little bit of ties with my brother going to college out that way. So NL team for sure is Pittsburgh. I got two AL teams though because I've traveled around a lot for work, and I got to take batting practice in Progressive Field. So one of my AL teams would be the Indians, and I got to sit in the Nesson booth and in their first row seats at Fenway, and so the Red Sox, I can respect that Fenway connection. So if I had to pick an AL team, it'd be one of those two.
Cool.
Let's see, John, who you got, man?
I think you've been spying on my copybook here because the Pirates would be mine too. Um, Always when I was a young kid, always enjoyed because they were in our division back then. Always loved the rivalry back then. Kind of start. I mean, I'm a little too young for Cobra, but I liked Cobra on other teams. Like after his Pirates days, Dave Parker's a beast. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Hey, Hall of Fame, listen up. Put Dave Parker in the fucking Hall. But yeah, like I won't mention the juicer because I didn't like him before he did Rails of Juice. So Benia, Van Slyke, guys like that, Teak, Colby, and then like my favorite player, my favorite player ever is Ken Griffey Jr. Obviously, but after that it was since his rookie year it's been Kutch, and then I fell in love with the Pirates as like my little underdog team. Like I'm a diehard Phillies fan, but I always like root for them. Like all right, get it together. And when they made the playoffs with that squad, they were pretty much loaded. They had a young Garrett Cole and all them guys, but it would be the Pirates for me in the National League. American League, it would be four words. Three of them involve his name. Will Can fucking Boyd. The coolest freaking name ever. His real name's Dennis, but man, like me and my buddy talk about this all the time. It didn't involve the Phillies, and I hated them. I hated that the Mets won it, but my favorite World Series to watch was Boston versus the Mets in '86. I hated that the Mets won it, but with the Bill Buckner thing. But Will Ken Boyd was one of my favorite pitchers, like back in the day. So I fell in love with him and a young Clemens before he did all what he did and all. Wade Boggs, Greenwell, Jim Rice. It was just a nice squad, and I've always rooted for them to do good. And I was finally happy when they won their first World Series back at what was that? '04? No, '04 or before that when they were playing the Yankees too in that American League Championship Series. I rooted for them hard when they were down 3-0 and they came back and just like won the next four. I was just so happy for them. But yeah, that would be my American League team. What do you got, dude?
I mean, the Cardinals are coming in this week, but that was a team I always enjoyed watching when I was younger with the Ozzie Smith, Tommy Herr, Jack Clark, Willie McGee, Vince Coleman. Like I just liked that style of baseball that they played with the speed and the small game, good defense straight up the middle. I mean, Ozzie Smith, was unbelievable at shortstop, and even later in his career became a halfway decent hitter, probably hitting around 265. Carrying his weight a little bit with the stick. But that's just always been a franchise that has perennially been good. They've always been in the mix in the National League Central. Always competitive in the playoffs. So just a team I always enjoyed. I just like the style of baseball that they played. I thought they were exciting. They didn't need, they had Jack Clark hitting home runs, but he was really the only one. They were a gap-to-gap team, used their speed. Coleman stealing 100 bags a year. Tommy Herr, just a really solid baseball player that got to come over and play for the Phillies at the end of his career. Just a team I always enjoyed, the Cardinals. Really don't have an American League team. I guess if I did, I liked those Mariners team back with Junior and Edgar Martinez and Jay Buhner. They never really had that one great year where they won like 108 games and then got beat by the Yankees. But they're kind of like an underdog franchise that I keep an eye on to see how they're doing every year. But yeah, the Cardinals would be my team just based on their history and the type of players they had. How about you, Chris?
Seattle Mariners, no doubts. And it's because of a certain few players, like when I was younger, and I'm thinking like more like Alvin Jones, Floyd Bannister, Jay Buhner. I just loved those dudes. There's also another Seattle connection for me, which is nice to have. Rupert Jones is another one. I thought the Kingdom was like the coolest place. There's fucking cannons out there. Their logo's cool. Like shit, I don't know. Like people could like a team for their logo. I'm gonna like Seattle originally. I'm gonna say it's because of like the Nautilus pitchfork, one of the sweetest logos. I didn't like as much when they went to the S. I can remember being in college, and I guess this would have been like, Mike, we would have been, I don't know if we watched these games together, but this would have been 95, right? Seattle's year when they won 118 games and they beat the Yankees in the playoffs there. And that was just like, that was wild. Like that underdog feeling of like, there's no chance that this team's going to do it. And then, Ichiro came there. So like,
Right.
I think like I would have loved, and Edgar Martinez, Randy Johnson, Felix, like that franchise has so many good players that just kind of like went to the wayside. And I think I would have done well for the most part with them as far as like winning. And I love Seattle. I love the manners. I love the colors. And, I love Griffey's swing. And, my wife was asking, like, what's so sweet about Griffey's swing? And I says, oh my God, it's like everything's sweet about it, like from beginning to end. And she's like, it wasn't only that for me. It was like, he was the first guy that like, remember when he went up to the home run derby and he put his hat backwards and like did it? No one else was doing that. Like no one else was like doing that cool. I mean, now there's like 1,000 fucking chains on people and stuff, and like all this bling and like I got a Fanatic glove. Like before it was like this dude turned his hat backwards and I was like, oh shit, that's fucking amazing. He's got the swing, hat backwards. He's fucking climbing walls in center field to catch. It's just amazing. So great job, guys. I loved hearing, the story of that.
You do look good in teal too, I think.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking good. I got to look good in something. I don't know. I look good in a bar, I think, occasionally. So before we go off, I want to say, like, if you like what we're doing here, you like Drunk Bills fans, and you want to support PhillySportsShirts.com. That's where we're selling the shirts. A few of the guys here, I can see have the shirts on, different logos. We're also going to be selling Drunk Eagles fans. Occasionally we're selling stickers. They did really well. Dugan takes care of those and kind of sells those on the page. So if you like us, like what we're doing, the best way to support us is commenting, sharing with friends, but also like, wearing our gear, right? Spreading that word. So we appreciate it. So to end the show today, we're going to end it like usual. Let's beat the Cardinals. Let's beat the Angels. Fuck Joe Carter. Fuck the Mets. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next Thursday for our next podcast. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.